All right, after that refreshing break, we are excited to hear a special talk on a topic that's gaining significant traction: revolutionizing criminal litigation, the role of AI in modern legal practice. Please join me to welcome Sana Rais Khan. It is both an honor and privilege to introduce her and celebrate the extraordinary achievements of Sana Rais Khan, a trailblazing legal luminary whose remarkable career and unwavering commitment to justice have earned her a place among the top lawyers of the Supreme Court of India. An LLM gold medalist, TEDx speaker, and recognized as one of the most brilliant minds in the legal industry, Sana's reputation transcends national boundaries. In 2024, her exemplary advocacy and professional integrity were honored with the prestigious award for excellence in advocacy in the Asian UK Business Meet and Awards, held at the House of Commons, British Parliament, London, which is a testament to her global influence and exceptional contributions to the field of law. Additionally, she is a renowned panelist on national news channels, celebrated for her incisive legal opinions and fearless articulation on complex legal matters. Sana Rais Khan is the founder of SRK Legal, a highly regarded law firm based in Mumbai, specializing in a diverse range of legal services. Over the years, she has emerged as one of India's foremost criminal defense lawyers, known for her exceptional ability to handle complex and high-profile legal battles. Practicing at both in Bombay High Court and the Supreme Court of India, she epitomizes a unique combination of sharp legal acumen, relentless determination, and a compassionate approach towards her clients, particularly in the fields of criminal defense and intricate litigation. She is known for her steadfast victories in impossible cases of the country. She made a brief and successful appearance in Bigg Boss 17 in 2023 and became a household name, yet continued to remain focused on her legal career, remaining unaffected by distractions. Sana's illustrious career is marked by her deep academic grounding and a profound understanding of justice, which laid the foundation for a path of resilience and groundbreaking success. Among her most high profile cases, she is widely recognized for her defense in the Indrani Mukherjee and Sheena Bora murder case, where she secured bail for her client after years of intense public scrutiny and a highly publicized trial. Her strategic role in this landmark case even led to her being featured in the 2024 Netflix docuseries, The Indrani Mukherjee Story: Buried Truth. Another defining moment in her career came with her representation of Arvind Sahu in the Aryan Khan drugs case, where she successfully secured his release, thus becoming the first individual to emerge from a case and effectively dismantling the entire conspiracy chain in the drugs cruise case. Known for her deep expertise in the NDPS law, Sana has won several rare victories, including the quashing of drug-related charges at the Bombay High Court. Throughout her career, Sana has consistently taken on and triumphed in some of the most high-profile, challenging legal battles, including successfully defending and securing relief for celebrities such as Raveena Tandon, Rupali Ganguly, and other high-profile names from entertainment industry, securing bail for Weber Roth in Unlawful Activities Prevention Act after he was found with explosives in his possession, defending Riaz Bhatti, a key accused in the Chota Shakil case, and securing significant legal outcomes, uncovering critical procedural lapses in the case of Hanumant Shinde, who was accused of cutting his girlfriend into pieces, ultimately leading to a favorable result for her client. Achieving a breakthrough in the Pune beheading case, where her compelling legal arguments led to the suspension of a life sentence of a young boy in a brutal murder case due to forensic discrepancies. Defending and securing release for Divya Pahuja in the Haryana encounter case, even in the face of death threats, although tragically, Pahuja was murdered shortly after her release. Securing the release of prime accused Bhavesh Bhinde in the Ghatkopar hoarding collapse case, a pivotal legal victory in a complex matter of public interest. She has handled cases of officers like Samir Wankre. Sana, over to you. I think this introduction was enough for us to kickstart your presentation. But
Thank you for such an impeccable introduction. Thank you so much. So my topic is revolutionizing the criminal litigation and of course the role of AI today. Today let's talk about the journey into how AI is transforming and revolutionizing the criminal litigation. Technology in general and AI in particular has definitely transformed to next level today. However, human intellect has always been at the forefront of all justice systems. And definitely criminal litigation is the heart of justice system. So when we speak about legal procedure, what is it? It reflects the basic human need to be just, to be fair against those who do wrong. So let's speak about the ancient civilization where the seeds of criminal litigation were sown, right from the rudimentary forms to now how criminal litigation has transformed. Ancient Mesopotamia laid down certain legal principles that contained code of conduct into forms of judgment and punishment and offenses and punishment. Then we can speak about ancient Indian texts like Manusmriti that viewed justice as social and moral obligation. However harsh these primitive systems may be, but the fundamental principles have been developed because of these systems, which is the fact that laws govern society. Another invention is, of course, the participation of general public in administration of justice, which is called the jury system, which started first in ancient Greece. Then with emergence of ideas like presumption of innocence and right to fair trial, the justice system became more balanced all over. And in fact, even today, the results and the effects of Enlightenment era are being felt. Then, thinkers and legends like Cesare Beccaria endorsed the idea of proportionality of punishment and abolition of torture. Then courts started giving precedence and giving more importance to evidence over superstitions, to reasons over emotions. And then came the adversary litigation, the form in which people seek, wherein the defense as well as the prosecution produce their claims before unbiased judges, which is prevalent in most of the countries today. However, crime has no respect for borders. So be it human trafficking, be it drugs trafficking, be it transnational terrorism, be it theft of intellectual property, all these offenses definitely call for international action. But what has emerged with the emergence of digital evidence? Of course, now we see everything, easy for the justice system today that is prevalent all over the world, right from the CCTV footage to digital communications. Everything becomes opportunity as well as challenges also, because they produce both opportunities as well as challenges in the functioning of the present criminal litigation. However, the very basic essence and the core will always remain human judgment, which can never be replicated or replaced, because machines can never replicate human judgment, emotional intelligence, which is a basic concept of criminal litigation. Like understanding and interpreting facts, intent, and moreover, underlying principles in most of the legal systems all across the world remains the same, which is presumption of innocence and the fact that 100 guilty can go scot-free, but one innocent should not be convicted. That still remains the basic criminal justice concept all over the world, which promotes the idea of individual liberty. Now let's speak about United States, where there is a system of trial by jury, or be it magisterial-led inquiry in India, or be it Scandinavian countries where more precedence is given to restorative approach, but the fact remains that there should always be an equilibrium between rights of the individuals and the demands of the society. Justice always remains universal in all its aspects. Let's travel across the border and explore the trans-border problems also, because ultimately the legal system in all countries may differ based on its values, based on its culture. And some of you might think that the legal system in other countries may be more faster, more effective than in our countries. The fact remains that that is a reflection of varied legal practices all across the world that seeks and that roots for common search for justice across the borders. United States, as we speak, there is adversarial system wherein, of course, there's a jury system. Now imagine, 12 people who have no legal expertise, no knowledge about evidence, are deciding the fate of, offenders, are trying to determine whether an offender can go scot-free, whether he can be convicted or acquitted. I mean, of course, this sounds absurd, but this also at the same time, of course, is reflective of the fact that it promotes participation and community building. Then we can speak about Europe, where there is an inquisitorial approach, where judges play the central role in investigating the facts. Then comes Europe. Then comes France or Germany, where there is more emphasis on rehabilitation. Then there is, of course, how can I not speak about Asia, where there is a fusion of modernity and tradition. But in the Indian judiciary, as we see that, there's always a scope for constitutional rights and for public interest litigation, and also for activism that intersect with criminal litigation. And then in Japan, there's a method of, obtaining confession through protracted interrogation. And in Japan, there's, highest rate of convictions that that is prevalent now today in the world. But, how many of you have heard so often about the international efforts to bring criminals to justice? Be it Interpol facilitating global cooperation or countries signing extradition treaties, Cross-border crime is the crucial aspect today that needs to be addressed, crucial concern today. So, and of course, with increasing use of digital evidence, there are opportunities, and at the same time, there are drawbacks also. So, I mean, of course, we've all heard cases now being solved due to CCTV footage, due to somebody's social media activity, due to some digital evidence, due to some transcripts, communication, even, in fact, call data records also help and are playing a crucial role in determining somebody's fate today. So, digital footprints have definitely become central today in the success of, in the way criminal litigation has been transformed all over the world. But then there also comes the problem of authenticity. How authentic could they be? And then again, there could be concerns about surveillance and privacy. But in all legal systems, the most common aspect that is universally accepted is the quest for truth and justice. Like how I just stated that, from country to country and from culture to culture, the legal systems may differ. But legal system does not, and criminal litigation does not exist in a vacuum. It, of course, is derived from other disciplines like sociology, like psychology, international relations, technology. So the basic crux is that it is a reflective of society today. Yes, definitely. So it is a reflection of society. And the basic crux is the values, the justice, fairness that leads us towards the final goal. Because criminal litigation has not just changed human lives, but also changed societies overall. But the question remains that can machines and algorithms, can they replace human judgment? Of course, machines cannot interpret facts, cannot discern intent, and human mind, of course, has no parallel. How creative human mind could be, and how, there is no limit, there is no boundary to it. Machines have, of course. And today, the law enforcement agencies are leveraging AI to even prevent crimes in the first place. That is impeccable, that is incredible. But again, and again with AI, there's speeding up of fingerprint DNA, and then, facial recognition techniques today, voice analysis, and all of these things, of course, are adding up today. But and of course, even algorithms can identify case law statutes in minutes. There is no doubt about that. But then again, you cannot relinquish your right to machines to make such critical decisions also, because they cannot decide the fate of anybody, be it your client or your fate also, as a matter of fact, because you are defending your clients. Because, the AI operates on data, produces output, it could also produce biased output also. And, there are cases where misidentified, facial recognition could also lead to wrongful convictions for that matter. If, that's the opacity of the AI. Even it's just a black box for its own creators also at the same time. So At the core, of course, criminal litigation is about storytelling, about advocacy, about connection, about argumentation with passion, understanding human behavior, their psyche, their motive, which can never be replaced by machines. Of course, which can never be replaced by machines. It can only complement probably a human mind, but it can never replace humans. Like how, it's being told these days that probably machines will replace humans in the future. Lawyers can be replaced, but that is absolutely impossible because machines cannot understand human behavior. Machines will not use the emotional intelligence the way humans do, cannot craft a narrative. AI, it may be a powerful tool, but of course it cannot replace the human mind, which is creative and which has no boundaries. But with AI, of course, there is a need for transparency also and fairness to avoid perpetuating existing biases. Because the criminal litigation in its crux and its core will always remain a human endeavor. The basic principle is, of course, like truth, justice, always is a combination of law and morality. So what the future is, for the brighter future, what I feel is that there cannot be a choice between humans and machines. AI can definitely be a powerful tool in assisting humans in increasing their efficiency, but there doesn't need to be a choice. There has to be a partnership between humans and machines that leverages the strength. And that's where the future, the brighter future of the world lies. And it is also imperative that there has to be a constant communication between the public, between the legislators, between the legal experts for a more effective legal system. That ultimately, that's where we can embrace the technology with its advancement as well as with its challenges more appropriately. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for that eye-opening session, Sana. On behalf of WLF, I would like to invite Mr. Azam Ghani to please facilitate Sana with a token of appreciation.